If you actually stop for a second and use your pitifully small brain to do the impossible and think about it, if Wizards of the Coast wanted a designated healing class, they would have called it the Healer or some shit. Sure, clerics may be the best at it by getting all the useful spells, but maybe try doing something completely out of the box and be literally anything else. You are about to see the most versatile class in existence, because it would be really fucking boring if I were to make a video about the oodles, canoodles, and big French poodles you have to choose from, and have it turned out to be 70 identical subclasses. I know it's hard, but commit your last 2 brain cells to being actually interesting instead of being the designated heal bot for once. This is a very unhelpful guide to subclasses. The badass bishop, the powerful pope, and a bunch of other names that I'm too lazy to think of. That's right, today's video is about the Cleric, the designated heal bot of the Forgotten Realms, except with way more stuff, because D&D is a versatile game, and all of you are worse than Hollywood about playing into stereotypes. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to talk as much shit as I'd like to about the class, due to the Cleric having a whopping 14 subclasses to choose from, and I don't want this video to be an hour long. The aforementioned poodles you get to choose from include Wizard But Worse, the designated evil one, and my axe. The DM's not allowed to have fun, the boring one, nobody dies, nobody sees, nobody cares, micromanager, pacifist, almost Thor, just an asshole, the edgy one cause why not, and kill everything in sight because fuck you. Once again, one of the classes I'm supposed to talk about later snuck its way up front. The Arcana domain represents the people who wanted to cast Magic Missile all the time, but were stuck playing Cleric because not enough supports. Between stealing wizard spells, getting a free dispel magic, and just giving themselves spell like Meteor Swarm and Time Stop, you could play the best game of copycat since I pretended to be JoCat for a bit. Look at the bright side though, no one's gotten mad at me yet, so in theory you should be fine. I hear self-deprecating jokes help in evading online aggression. Exaggeration is key when pretending to be awesome, and no one does it better than the Death domain, which has awesome sounding names for overall shitty abilities. For example, Touch of Death does a little extra zap, and Inescapable Destruction means you can hurt stuff you couldn't hurt before. And despite having an ability named after the edgiest Overwatch character, it's less die, and more try as you might. The Reaper ability will never be cool, because sure, you get a necromancy cantrip from any class, except there are only 3 necromancy cantrips, and only Toll the Dead is worth getting. Get ready to be the cleric that never dies, because the Forge domain is the most overpowered bullshit I've ever seen. At level 1, that's right, level 1, you can make anyone's sword or armor a magic item. Add this to extra AC and resistances when wearing a full suit of plate armor, and flat out immunity to fire, and you have yourself a mini Hephaestus. However, everything has its downsides, and the Forge domain's equivalent to a song that has 100 ways to say this dude does fire shit is their channel divinity, where they can make anything in existence, except if it's magical. We draw the line at that. Don't be insane, we're clerics, not artificers. Dungeon masters everywhere hate this subclass, and as a DM I consider not telling you about this one, but as a player, chaos reigns, let's fucking go! Grave domain clerics can stabilize someone from a mile away, heal someone whenever they kill something, press the insta-kill button when someone attacks, and the most powerful ability, and the one that has Wizards of the Coast planning to ban the grave domain from the game because of the sheer amount of complaints and DM horror stories they've received, the ability to say no whenever the DM gets their greatest joy ever, rolling a natural 20. Such hatred for this ability is the reason why we have the Tarrasque on standby whenever players get on our nerves. Yes, 911, we need an ambulance. One of my players decided to be a knowledge domain cleric and has discovered the Elder's truth, and is now passed out on the floor foaming at the mouth. These clerics are all about finding out stuff because the information is key in battle strategy, but also because these clerics want to see how much time you spent fleshing out the lore of your world instead of procrastinating and planning stuff last minute. If any of you come to my games with a knowledge seeker focused on finding out the deep secrets of the universe, I will 100% kill you right then and there, turn your character sheet into toilet paper, and eat your dice. I don't care if they're metal, I needed more iron in my diet anyway. This section really only needed to be 1 sentence long, because literally every ability you get as a life domain cleric has to do with healing. Every single one of them. And yet we're all surprised when people say this class is literally just a heal bot. Those people have probably only read this subclass and ignored everything else that's way better, like everyone else on the goddamn planet these days. However, it wasn't all in vain, because this subclass is a guarantee that the party will never die as long as the cleric is alive, so it's the DM's mission to make every enemy smart enough to use the age-old strategy of kill the healer. There was going to be a joke about how the final ability of this subclass is the disease that spread across the globe, but then I remembered how everyone made that joke as soon as the pandemic started, so instead we'll talk about something else, because everyone is apparently funnier than me. When you pick this subclass, you get to be Markiplier in his room playing with flashlights, blinding anyone who comes near you like a militant introvert. However, you do get the best spell that works for every occasion. Say it with me, just Fireball. Just Fireball. Just Monica. Wait, where did that come from? Oh shit, she's back! Remember how the Arcana domain was wizard but worse? Well, hold on to your form-fit, Kira and assless chaps, because this subclass is the infinitely inferior druid but worse. Want to talk to plants like a crazy person? Want to protect someone a teensy tiny bit when they take damage? Want to be pretty much useless compared to every other cleric subclass? Then this one's for you. Just don't come crying to me when you realize this subclass is absolute trash. I literally just warned you about it. This entire subclass is for spoiled brats who want to play D&D like their actual life, or for wimps who never got listened to and had to do the entire group project themselves. I'm totally the first one. Shut up, you don't know me. Clerics of the Order domain are the backseat gamers of the Forgotten Realms, since similarly to the Life domain, all of their abilities revolve around telling people what to do, except for the one ability that is the mental punishment for not doing what you told them to do. This micromanaging carries on to the spells you get, which all involve bossing people around. Has anyone told you that you're kind of a controller? Because you are, and it's fucking annoying. Stop it. What's the matter? Too scared to throw a punch? That's okay, D&D is an inclusive system, and just like modern games and fiction advocating for the rights of minorities in the LGBTQ+ community, we have a special subclass just for the wimps and pacifists who is too scared to actually hit anything and would much prefer helping their friends paint the walls red while disagreeing with their actions. Just because you rolled a nat 20 just to make friends with the raging devil doesn't mean it automatically works. If your bonuses don't bring it to a 30 within the next 5 seconds, you are getting eaten and shat out into the worst part of the 9 hells, and it's no one's fault but your own for being a wuss who's too scared to do a genocide run. Come on, come see the most badass subclass that the Cleric has to offer. Grab your massive hammer, your tankard of blood mead, get some tattoos, and work on your drinking problems, because Tempest Domain Clerics are basically just a bunch of Thors. Between maxing out lightning and thunder damage, shocking anyone who hits you like a Wobbuffet using counter, and giving yourself the ability to fly like a religious Mary Sue, you are one step closer to getting killed by Zeus out of jealousy. Where we find imitation flattering, the gods most likely do not, so stop trying to be one, because it almost always doesn't end well. Just because Jester made the subclass look all neat and cute doesn't mean it isn't damn scary when you read further into it. The entire assorted kit revolves around being a sneaky bastard, and I would know I somehow have Blessing of the Trickster active at all times. Not only do you get to lace your weapons with poison, but you also get to make clones of yourself to distract people while you rob them blind because you're just that much of an asshole. Have fun trying to plan an encounter where the enemy is prepared for there to be 5 of the same person, because I'm sure it's so easy for you to do, isn't that right, Dungeon Master? Every class has to have a subclass that is slightly edgy, and the Cleric is no exception. So if you embrace your inner vampire and choose the Twilight domain, have fun making an aura of complete and total darkness that surrounds you and is larger than a fireball radius, while also having the biggest range of dark vision in the entire game. Just remember, if the DM says an area is pitch black, don't be all like, I have dark vision, I get to ruin your surprise, or also bring out the Annoyance Destroyer Tarrasque I mentioned earlier, and also I'll wring your fucking neck if you pick this subclass too. And people think it's funny when I tell them not to piss me off. And finally, our trek through the train wrecks and overpowered bullshit is at an end with a final and unarguably best domain in the game. You get extra attacks at the wazoo, bonus resistances to non-magical damage, and the best channel divinity options ever, Goddess Strike and War God's Blessing, with which you can add a gazillion points to the attack roll of your friend, giving you both the ability to kill a juvenile gnat with one of those tiny cocktail swords that was thrown like a dart from 5 miles away in the middle of a hurricane. The one thing to remember with this subclass is that while you feel like a priestly barbarian ready to kill anything that moves, you're still just a cleric with shitty hit points, and you will get crushed under the weight of the giant you tried to 1v1. Anyway, near unstoppable divine death machines aside, now you know everything there is to know about all the officially published cleric subclasses. Amen.